Welcome to the Masai Mara. It is one of the last truly wild places on Earth, operating like a precise biological engine, driven by the endless rhythm of the rains. In this ecosystem, the animals act as groundskeepers. Heavyweights like elephants and giraffes prune the high branches, shape the trees, and dig deep water wells that spread vital nutrients across the terrain. Because of this constant maintenance, millions of grazing animals can thrive here. Their survival relies completely on a steady, seemingly infinite supply of soft, nutritious grass. To anyone watching from a distance, this looks like a self-sustaining paradise, a peaceful garden governed strictly by the weather and the appetite of the massive herds. But prowling right alongside these herds are apex predators. Lions, hyenas, and cheetahs don't graze, they hunt. Our first instinct is to see these carnivores as chaotic disruptors. We tend to view them as merchants of death who bring violence into an otherwise tranquil world. The Masai people, however, have lived here for centuries. As the indigenous guardians of this land, they hold generations of direct observation and deeply documented knowledge about how this specific environment actually works. And they have a specific proverb that defies our modern assumptions. If there were no lions, there would be no grasslands. Think about that for a second. If the herbivores are the ones maintaining the plains, and the lions are constantly killing those herbivores, how exactly does the ultimate killer end up saving the grass? To answer that, we have to imagine the Masai Mara completely stripped of its predators. Without a reason to run, massive groups of zebras and wildebeests would immediately settle down. They would become entirely comfortable, standing still in the tall grass. Millions of stationary animals grouped together rapidly consume every piece of local vegetation. They eat the grass down to the dirt, completely destroying root systems. Then, heavy hooves trample the exposed ground into hard, cracked dirt, rendering the soil infertile. A herbivore's absolute safety is actually the ecosystem's fastest route to collapse. Left completely in peace, the animals would quickly turn their own lush, vibrant habitat into a completely barren, lifeless dustle. Predators function as the ecosystem's behavioral architects, exerting a pressure that influences the entire continent far beyond simple population control. A solitary hunter walking across the open plains instantly eliminates the herd's sense of safety. They are forced into a state of perpetual anxiety. Ecologists call this the landscape of fear. Predator territories project an invisible pressure wave, pushing massive herds forward. With nowhere to hide, the herds must keep walking, leaving grazed land behind to rest and regenerate. This constant fear acts as an invisible fence. It is the exact mechanism that stops the herds from eating their own home to death. This localized anxiety scales up into the most massive physical event on the continent. Driven by the search for rain and pushed by the constant threat of predators, millions of animals are forced into a relentless march north, known as the Great Migration. Eventually, this migrating army hits a brutal geographical bottleneck, the Mara River. To reach the fresh pastures, the panicking wildebeests and zebras must throw themselves into the turbulent, muddy water. Waiting in that water are the cold-blooded gatekeepers. Crocodiles lie in ambush, extracting a deadly toll from the crossing herds, ensuring that those who survive keep moving forward as fast as possible. This terrifying journey is a strict biological necessity. The sheer panic of the Great Migration is the engine that clears out the southern plains, giving those exhausted lands the months they need to recover. The paradox is now clear. Lions, hyenas, and crocodiles serve as the ecosystem's invisible shepherds. In the natural world, life and death are codependent gears. Every successful hunt functions as a calibrated energy exchange, ensuring the movement necessary for the ecosystem to thrive. The Masai recognized this truth centuries ago. Their cultural observation perfectly predicted what modern behavioral ecology is just now mapping out. True ecological harmony rarely looks peaceful from the inside. It requires tension, movement, and sacrifice. The gorgeous, sweeping grasslands of Africa only exist because they are fiercely protected by the ultimate merchants of life.